Okay. All set. Whenever you're ready, Mr. John.
I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Rutherford Recreation and Parks Commission meeting Tuesday, April 4th, 2023, 6 o'clock. Could I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Chair Joseph Harris,
Here.
Commissioner Enrique Ortiz,
Here.
Commissioner Emily Jelling,
Here.
Commissioner Michael Jimenez,
Here.
Commissioner Trevor Lamberson, absent.
Pledge allegiance, please. Please stand. Position. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I don't see anybody here for the community participation group, so we'll just discuss with that and go to item number 4. If that's okay. With a consent calendar. Approval of the minutes of the Direction and Parks Commission regular meeting of March 7th, 2023. Looking for a motion of approval.
I'll mention.
We have a motion, need a second? I'll second it. A motion and a second, all those approved by saying aye. Aye. Minutes approved. For regular business, item number 5, Central Park, 50% design developments. Hannah.
And I will pass it over to Brooke.
Hi, good evening. Hannah, if I share my screen, everyone can see it.
Yes. Or I can share.
Enable it. Yeah,
Give me 1 second.
okay.
There you go. I think you should be able to now.
Okay. Let's try it. All right, how's that?
Perfect.
Everyone can see?
Let's flip the lights on this side so people can see. Here we go.
Good enough?
All right, good evening and thank you for having us back. We wanted to bring you up to date on what's been going on with the Central Park project. So we have submitted our 50% design development plans for city review. Shannon has gone through and reviewed and given comments back. And then we have some questions for Parks Commission. We're hoping to get you to weigh in on some items for the Central Park project. So to start out, just to refresh your memory, this was the original grant scope site plan. And just want you to remember that the skate park was in this corner of the park along 9th Street. And the dog park was located in the center of the park. And after we did our opportunities and constraints site analysis out there, we learned that most of the drainage on the site is headed to this corner. And so we also had our arborist go out and take a look at the existing trees. And so any of the trees in red are slated so far to be removed, either due to construction or because of poor health. In October, we held the public outreach workshop, and below are the results of that workshop. People got to choose the theme for the park, different amenities, what type of climber they wanted, adult exercise, swings and rockers. It was a good turnout. We got a lot of feedback, especially for the skate park, which was great because that's such a large component of this project. So these are the skate park boards that we had at the workshop. And the consensus really from the community was wanting kind of a mix of beginner area and more advanced, and kind of a mix of street type and more transitional flow. And so with all that information, we came up with this illustrative site plan. And in it, you'll see that we, if you remember, we switched the location of the dog park and the skate park in order to accommodate where the water is flowing. And we're working with the civil engineer to flush out the stormwater basin that will be here to get water off-site and infiltrate. But those were the main differences from the grant scope plan. We relocated the restroom closer to 10th Street, so it's closer to existing utilities, water and sewer. And just kind of played with the curve of that sidewalk to accommodate the skate park in the middle there. And we have some concept images just to give a good idea of what we're thinking of in this picnic area location. Because the community chose a dune theme, we really wanted to play with the grading here and create these kind of dune-like mounds. And they not only enhance that theme that people chose, but provide a windbreak for these picnic areas. And so they look something similar to this. We're hoping to use and recycle the existing concrete sidewalk in order to build these. We're still fleshing that detail out, but these are the also images of the exercise equipment and play equipment that were selected. And then Eric is going to walk you through, he's the principal of our firm, he's going to walk you through what design development plan is.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks, Brooke. You guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. The next part of the set, Brooke kind of showed you the illustrative set. The next is where we really start hashing out some of the details. Design development is kind of this interim process that we go through in design where we work on firming up a lot of the conceptual ideas that were presented earlier and making them more real. And as we do that, we start working towards construction documentation, which is the final stage of the process. But really, it's still a work in progress as we kind of finalize some of these details, some of the specification items, you know, which benches, which play structures, what does the grading look like? What do the fences and walls look like? We start really kind of fleshing out some of those details as opposed to just saying wall here, fence here, you know, that's kind of the progression we're going in. So this is nothing more here. If you have this set, this is nothing more than a legend that the next sheet is going to call out these items in specific. So on this sheet, all of these refer to different call outs. We try to fit this as the largest scale as possible. So the park is kind of split in half, as it were. This is the southern end of the park that shows the skate park and the dog park. And we'll talk a little bit more about the design of those features of those two features specifically here in a minute. You can see the detailing and kind of the spatial arrangement of the dunes and the barbecue. So 4 ADA picnic tables with 4 ADA barbecues, ash bins that are associated with those as well. Those are park style charcoal barbecues, as well as some of the preliminary ideas about where benches are going to go, the striping of the basketball court, access to the jail, which is actually a really interesting kind of grading scenario. There's a pretty good grade change between the parking lot and the dog park. So how we get accessibility to the door of the jail, even though it's not really open to the public, it's something we have to provide. It's now going to snake around the southern extent of that. You can see in the dog park how we're preserving trees by carving out away from them. Those are oaks and they're really sensitive to some of the movement. So trying not to put dog activities right next to some of the trees. You can go to the next one, Brooke. Brooke mentioned moving the restroom over here into the kind of intergenerational area with the game tables, the bocce court, as well as the playground is on the left there. And that's us starting to play this idea of dune theming in the color surfacing on the playground itself. So you kind of get these different tones of the beige, still playing out those details, and maybe we can get some grading in there too. Still working out that. The exercise area there, right adjacent to with exercise equipment. The bus stop that will remain with some new trash cans, a bike rack just across from it. And then the other kind of fun thing here is you see that kind of X. Those white areas represent the old pedestals from the old water tower that are still in place today. And we're going to ask you some specific questions about those here in a minute too. But we're trying to play up that idea with maybe some new, using those as seatings or statue plinths in that area. And I think the goal of this, although we're still working out the details, is to try and reference the history or the idea behind that old water tower in this location, to pay homage to the fact that it was there, tell a story, but also provide some amenity in that location too. Still very much a work in progress. And here, this is a kind of, again, a step in the next direction where we're showing how we're meeting ADA compliance throughout. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one, but essentially we have to provide clear ground floor spaces at amenities, benches, picnic tables, to and from the skate parks, the dog park, those sorts of things. So this is us starting to flesh out from a compliance standpoint how we're meeting those requirements. And the last kind of exhibit in here is an analysis of proposed pervious pavement and then impervious pavements or planting areas on the property. And this has everything to do with stormwater compliance and how much stormwater we have to detain and infiltrate. The more impervious surfaces we provide, the more stormwater we have to mitigate. And that's a really important concept that we're going to talk about here in a second when we talk about the dog park. So keep that in mind. It's actually next. So the dog park, one of the questions we're here to ask you tonight is this idea of what is the surfacing in the dog park? Dog parks are kind of interesting in that they don't exist in a compliance standard necessarily, other than access to. The surfacing for dogs doesn't have to meet ADA compliance, but to the amenities it does. And so we're kind of caught in this idea of what the surfacing could be here. We're showing you two different options. On the left is the idea of stabilized decomposed granite or decomposed granite as a firm stable that's fully accessible, that provides people and dogs the ability to walk around. It's also would be fairly easy to clean up from a maintenance standpoint. And then on the right is actually a loose gravel ground plane. The thinking here is that primarily the big pro of this is a reduction in the amount of impervious surfaces. Decomposed granite on the left is an impervious surface. The gravel on the right is a pervious. So therefore, by going impervious or with a pervious surface, we don't have to detain as much stormwater runoff. And as you guys know, with the recent rains, that's no joke. We have to do something, we have to treat water on the site locally. And so the thinking there is that we can provide accessibility compliance to benches into the dog park for those users who may need those, but we don't have to provide it universally. Then the idea is the gravel is still a relatively easy to maintain surface as opposed to planting or other things that won't survive or you have to irrigate, and we can provide accessibility with the compromise on essentially stormwater, if that makes sense. Did I cover it all, Brooke?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's important to remember too that this corner of the park is where all that water is flowing. And so that's why we're playing with the idea of, is it something that water can flow through? Or is it going to be a harder surface that water's going to, sheet flow off, or we're going to have to grade it in a way that it's headed towards this basin here.
And that basin may have to get larger because of it is the other thing. So
yeah. And we have some more questions for you. So I think what we'll do is we'll keep moving on through if you guys want, or do you want to talk about it now as we go?
So these are the only options we have though, for the decomposed granite and the gravel?
Yeah, the pea gravel, another thing, I don't think Eric mentioned, decomposed granite costs more than the gravel.
That's true. Too.
And the pea gravel, I think, be easy to rake out. There are pros and cons to each.
So the grass is out of the question then? Natural grass?
I think the challenge with grass is that you have to irrigate it to keep it alive, and that becomes then a water use standpoint. And if you don't irrigate it, it will die and essentially just become dirt. And dogs, dog waste is not a friend of grass. So you're going to be fighting pea spots essentially for the rest of it. It's not the best long-term maintenance solution. Seen it done, but I think from a maintenance standpoint, these are your top two.
I mean, I've been to Waller Park and they have grass there, and I don't know how much they irrigate it there, but I mean, it's just, the grass is a lot better than decomposed granite and gravel, dust, and it's hard as heck too. So I don't know.
Yeah. Maintenance of turf in a dog park is something to consider too, because you're counting on people to be picking up after their animals.
Yeah.
When you get a mower out there.
What's the life expectancy of the gravel or decomposed granite as far as what would the replacement estimate as far as years go on that? Are they about equivalent?
I would say they're both very long-term solutions insofar as that both of them will migrate. So the maintenance is really about keeping them in place. But unlike wood chips, which would be and even another option that we haven't put on here, which will decompose over time and get less, where you constantly have to refill it. These will both be there insofar as they migrate out of here. And so we have there is fencing around this to help contain the material regardless. I think from an erosion standpoint and a day-to-day maintenance, you're going to have to maintain the decomposed granite more regularly. And that effort is going to be a larger effort than the gravel, which will have to be maintained as like a raking and moving gravel around, but that won't be a full scale like resurfacing, recompacting. I hope that answers your question a little bit. Both long-term materials.
Okay, thank you.
Have you ever seen any images of this decomposed granite or gravel on it in the dog park anywhere?
Yes, I have. I'm trying to think where a lot of dog parks I've seen end up using kind of an engineered wood fiber mulch, and it just ends up becoming a dirt spot, or any that I know went in as turf end up just becoming just compacted earth basically after a while. And I've seen them, in the rainstorms. It's lots of fun because the dogs are having a blast playing in the mud, but dog parks are difficult to figure out surfacing for. And that's why we're asking to see what you guys prefer, because it's not an easy spot.
Wow.
Is a combination of the both out of the question?
No, it's not out of the question.
No. We could do a combination of them. Another question for the dog park we were playing with is it one whole dog park? If you can see here, we have these two gates, two paths. In some dog parks, they are separated with a fence down the middle for small dogs versus large dogs. They don't want anyone, playing with each other, mixing. I can understand someone with a small dog being concerned about a big dog coming towards them. So we have that in here as an option, but haven't decided fully on whether it should include that or not, or just be one big open space.
I like the two.
I like the two.
Yeah.
I like it separated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We can definitely accommodate that. I mean, if it's a combination of the two, maybe a portion of it, a large portion is the pea gravel, but those accessible paths of travel and kind of a larger area around here is decomposed granite. You're still going to end up with that gravel kind of migrating, spilling over onto the DG. It's going to
that's going to be harder is when those two things blend. The maintenance is going to be even a little trickier. It can be done.
Yeah, I think you just are sweeping things back off, but
Decomposed grass is more level ground than gravel.
Do we have the ability to table this one, do our own kind of research on it, and then come back next month with a decision?
yes,
Okay.
we do. That's reasonable. And I can relay to Hannah and Shannon kind of when our date is that we need a decision by as well.
Yeah.
Because it will affect the civil engineer stormwater calculations.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest kind of unseen thing here is the implications of going with the pervious surface versus the impervious surface. And so keep that in mind in your decision making too. Well, one is a hard surface on the left and the other one is a soft surface. That if it is a combination, that's fine and probably more preferable than to all hard on the left from a stormwater perspective. We can make the left work. What is likely to happen if that choice is made is like where Brooke's cursor is, that might have to get bigger to compensate for, meaning the dog park is going to get smaller to compensate for the additional impervious surface that's going to be added.
All right. All right, thank you for that. The next item that we were hoping to get you to weigh on was the public art component for the project. So our scope is we help select locations of where art can go, and for the grant, there's a lot of public art that's tied to it. So we have in the project block walls that are slated for murals that will be created. And we've also got these kind of concrete plinths that would be just raised off the sidewalk, 8 inches, 12 inches for sculptures. And we know that you have in the Public Works Yard some art sculptures, and we're wondering who is selecting these, if you're going to put together a public art committee to work on these, or if this is something as the commission you want to do, is select which sculptures to use in the park. We have 3 locations here along the 10th Street with the multi-generational area, the game tables, restroom, exercise. So, and this is something you can think about too and get back to us, but we are to provide you areas for the art, but not to select the art ourselves. That should be the community. Have you guys seen these in person at the yard at all?
Yeah, they're there.
Right out the window.
Oh, they're right out the window. Zoom doesn't like me to zoom in here. So yeah, there's a variety. I didn't know if any of these, I mean, some of them are people, I didn't know if they were historic figures to Guadalupe, if they had any significance.
Hannah, those aren't the same ones that are out there, right?
Yes.
You know, all of those?
Yeah.
I don't remember all of those. Some of them look different.
Yeah, those were all kind of scattered around Guadalupe, and then a lot of them were either getting knocked over by people or just the wind. So then we took all of them and put them over here, hoping that something like this would happen. Yeah, all of them are back there right now.
What are they made of?
Metal.
It varies. Some of them are plaster, some of them are metal, some of them are metal and plaster. Just depends.
Okay, and I mean, that might influence the decision. You would want something sturdier for a public park. Plaster, I think, would get destroyed right away.
Something with a little more connection to the city too.
Yeah, we don't have any of the backstory of any of these. I'm guessing there's long stories in the artist's statements for all of these. So some more homework.
Yes.
We can find out.
Are you guys interested in any of these at all, or no? No?
It's been a while.
I
since
said, are you guys interested in any of these at all? Of putting any of them at the park?
Well, I have to see them for sure. I
Okay.
revisit them, I should say.
Okay.
But I think if anything, they should be, they're metal and they're, durable. They could they be scattered throughout the park in different places? Would they have to be in one location?
The mounts.
The mail that are up there.
Mouse there.
We have more mounts provided in the park where there's.
Just that one section?
Like 3.
Right there.
3.
Yeah.
Where those lines are drawn in.
Yeah.
Yep, right
But I
there.
don't know if they can withstand out there.
No, sir, what, Joe?
If they can withstand being out there.
Well, yeah, I think you could only select those that can,
Yeah.
Do we know where they came from originally?
I have no idea.
This is Shannon, if I can weigh in.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. So I started here in July of 2019, which was a month after those statues were put in place. I do not believe that there is any sort of artist story associated with them. I do know that they came from the Squire Foundation, and they were brought in as a way to provide art for the city. You'll notice one of them is Mr. Spock. I believe is Sigmund Freud. We know of no connection between these art pieces and the city of Guadalupe, except for that they were provided by the Squire Foundation. They were originally scheduled to be in the city for 5 years. That was the original agreement. What happened was that the Squire Foundation folded, and then these statues were just left in the city's. Spock, Spock no longer has arms. There used to be a flamingo that lost its legs. The statues, they had only been out in the field for about 2 years, and most of them have, I'll say, significant damage. It would not break my heart if none of these statues were chosen. But that is everything I know about them, and I hope that that helps you make a decision.
Because we're putting them in a park, it's gonna be really important to make sure like that we're gonna, oh,
Sorry.
Is it working?
There you go.
yay, okay. I was just gonna say, because it is a park, I would just say we really need to take a critical eye at making sure that if a kid climbed on it or did something that, you know, they might not do out in the street, but they would if it's near a play structure, just making sure that it adds that. I mean, I see one like a pointy top and I could just see that it going bad. So we might just want to really take that critical eye of like, if a child climbed on it,
For safety purposes.
is the plaster gonna break or something, would just be
Yeah.
something I would offer.
And the other thing to piggyback on Shannon there too, you have a really strong program, public art opportunity in this park in other locations that will more than meet the requirements that were in the grant. So if you did choose, if a choice was to not put these sculptures here, that is fine. I will say,
Yes.
from the grant's perspective and the project's perspective, if you chose none, that is an acceptable solution.
I also would not mind if the Recreation Commission gave the city direction on what we would do if we didn't put them in the park.
Yeah, I can put that on the agenda for next meeting.
What do you think?
Is Rico making us?
Never know, there might be a Picasso in this.
You never know.
I haven't seen them in person. I really am so curious as to what this is.
That's worth it.
Worth the trip.
It's worth a try, yeah.
What is, I don't know what that is. All right. Let's move on here. Keep it going. So part of the design development plans is when we start taking a look at details on how things are going to be made to, and we start applying the details that we'll be using in the construction documents, which helps Shannon and her team in reviewing the plans as well. Make sure we're all on the right path. So these are the details we have included in the parking lot. I should point this out. In order to meet green building code for the state, we need to provide shade in the parking lot over the parking stalls, the drive aisles. And so this is a way to incorporate trees into the parking lot. There's a tree grate under these pavers. It's a paver grate that the pavers are sitting on top of the grate. And there's a vertical guard that fits around the trunk of the tree, so cars aren't going to hit it. And it's this is the front of the stall, so doors aren't going to hit that guard either, but it's a way to get shade within the parking lot.
There's a picture of it back several slides on the concept images slide.
In the concept.
It's we've actually
Yes.
utilized this very successfully in parking lots especially as a way in tight parking lots of meeting the shade requirements without compromising the total number of parking stalls. Oftentimes in parking lots, you'll notice planting fingers. They're often 4 or 5 feet wide and they come at the expense of a parking stall. This is actually only 2 feet wide, but the plant has as much room as it would in a standard parking finger. Kind of a fun little detail we've been able to incorporate.
Is that gonna affect the asphalt in the parking lot at all once the tree starts to grow out more?
They're all fitted with root barriers, and we find that they're also, because the planting pit is about 12 inches below the surface of the parking lot, the level of the tree is, the roots are already at a depth where they won't lift over time. They're going down and more down. So
And we're also
have-
mindful of what tree species we choose for this.
yes, it's kind of a three-part piece. Root barriers, the grade of the tree, and the tree species are all vetted to help solve for that problem.
Right.
Berry dropper ones.
I'll talk a little bit about the skate park too here. So the skate park design, these are the design development drawings for the skate park. Again, I am not a skateboarder, but I've learned a lot about skateboarding both through this project and another project that we were working on. The design that you're seeing here has been presented a couple of times at the conceptual and now at the 50%, represents this kind of mix keep in mind, this is a very small skate park as skate parks go, and skate space in skate parks is limited, but it represents a nice mix of what skate park design refers to as transition elements, kind of in the bowly, flowy pieces that Brooke's highlighting there, both on that side and then also on the other end of the park. And then the street elements in the middle, with a couple of, as Brooke kind of alluded to in the middle, this idea of kind of a graduation of skill level. That rail that's in the middle is a lower skill rail. Some of the platforms are a little lower skill, whereas you have this wall on the east end that's a pretty gnarly, or on the right hand side of the drawing here, that wall there's a pretty gnarly skate element. So it's got a good gradation of skill level elements in here for it being a small skate park.
And we also have 2 points of entry here from
Yep,
the main walk.
points of
So
entry
if you're
from the main
coming
walk.
from 9th Street or 10th Street, you can skate on in. So these are his design development plans, and details associated with it. And then we get into the civil engineer's plans.
And the civil engineer's plans are still very much in progress, but they're working out the drainage. You can actually see the start of the drainage profile in there. That's the storm drain that will eventually collect the storm water that overflows into the storm drain connection in the parking lot. They're starting to work out the fine grading details and some of the other pieces of drainage in the site, as well as a water connection for as Brooke mentioned, the water connection for the drinking fountain on the west end. And the utility connections for the bathroom on the east or on the north side of the park. I guess it's the north side, water and sewer out to 10th Street.
10th Street. Yes. Oh. That's not
Loading.
showing. Yeah,
The wind?
the wind, this is our electrical plan. I really wanted you guys to see the site lighting and it's not loading.
Hmm.
Do you have it on your site, Eric?
Give me a minute. We can come back to it maybe.
Okay, that's terrible. And then we have the beginnings of our irrigation plan. We like to put a full irrigation schedule in the plans this early on so that any, parks maintenance can really take a look at the equipment and make sure it meets what they want to use and see in the park. So, and we have that laid out. We're really geared towards efficient irrigation in that it's point source drip emitters and drip lines. The only spot that we would be using spray heads is for the turf here in the middle. And we have to do our state water calculations and we meet the requirement so far. So we're good. And then our irrigation details. Oh. Planting plan isn't loading either.
Our nice pretty ones.
I know, this is where all the fun colors are. This always happens to me on Zoom. Let's see, Eric's trying to open it up on his end here. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's loading on my end. Are you able to switch the share with me? Oh, it
Awesome.
looks like it's open. Okay, perfect.
You got it?
Well, yep.
Yeah.
I'll flip to this. You able to see that,
Okay.
Brooke?
Yes. So site lighting. Can you close your thumbnail page?
Yep.
There we go. All right. I wanted you to see site lighting so you could see that safety was something we really heard in the public outreach and in comments and in looking through the community engagement that happens when the community was writing the grant. And so we have, you're gonna have to point for me, Eric. We have bollards along the main pathway and are also going to be providing outlets, locking outlets in those locations as well. So you could do string lights on the tree trunks there. And then some more two overhead lights for the skate park that are more about safety and security than night use. And overhead lights there near the parking lot as well. Again, for that, safety and security. And the same at the other end on 10th Street near the restroom. So it's about lighting it enough that you can see what's happening, but not necessarily encouraging night use. We also have locations for locking outlets. Where Eric's pointing there at that end of the park, so that if you wanted to do movies in the park, you could plug in there and have people sitting on the dunes to watch movies in that location, which would be pretty fun. So, and those outlets are scattered throughout the park, so you could be having events there as well.
So through irrigation, I talked about that.
Planting plan. There we go. This is the pretty one. All right, planting plan. That dark green that you see is all our stormwater plantings. So we want to make sure those plants are helping to slow down the water, and they like to have periods of a lot of water, and then they're fine with drought and not much at all. And so those are going to be in those areas to enhance that. The rest is really using a mix of drought tolerant, native and regionally adapted plants along the edge where the existing residences are. We want to do some screen planting, nothing that gets too overgrown and out of control, but just some of the larger shrubs there. But then the rest keeps to be, lower, 36 inches or less shrub plantings. So you can have that clear line of sight from 9th to 10th Street all the way across as you're walking along, and a variety of sizes of trees and shade trees. We did our best to keep existing trees where we could. And so it'll be nice when they all start to grow in together. We do have that large existing bunya tree that will be there. That's still that statement and good height contrast with the existing water tower.
And all of the trees that are off the property will be preserved too, including this extremely large and beautiful pine tree that's there now.
Yeah, that is serving as a nice kind of buffer from the railroad tracks, because we aren't allowed to cross into that area to use the grant monies. It's off property. Planting details, and then we've included plant images so you can get an idea of at this level we do those shaded areas with a plant list instead of a full planting plan at this stage. And so this is giving you an idea of the character of color and textures that we want to incorporate into the park. And we've also done a job to select trees and shrubs that are going to withstand those strong prevailing winds.
Mhm.
And next, this is the restroom drawings, the Portland blue. So it's a single stall restroom, marine grade stainless steel. Hand washing is on the outside.
Very technical drawings. They just have kind of a boilerplate mix.
But here's our fun renderings.
So the rendering you're looking at here is from the top of the bridge, looking out over the park. And this illustrates the dog park as if it were the pea gravel, just so you know, kind of the thinking in it's there. But we know that decision is pending. But again, the path of travel to the jail kind of snaking around, because there's that grade difference between the parking here, those orchard parking concepts, the basketball court, the skate park in the back, and right in the middle here is that stormwater area we're talking about. That's going to be depressed to catch all of the stormwater. The mounding of the picnic tables areas, kind of creating that dune feel, which also is the direction of your prevailing winds. So not only does it kind of give that dune fun feel in the park and playground, it will help to have a barbecue there, be able to keep a fire lit, but also prevent or help shelter someone sitting there from the prevailing winds slightly. And the playground elements with that different color surfacing we were talking about, intergenerational area with the picnic tables. These are the ideas behind those plinths that people are sitting on the background that we're playing around for, or asking you about the public art with the Portland Loo in the background there. Overview of the skate park. You can see it better here. Apologies for the glare on this. That's just a rendering thing. It won't be that shiny and reflective, I promise.
Oh.
After a few skateboarders are on it. But these are those kind of transition elements that we talk about here, almost like a mini little half pipe and some transitions on these end features with the rails, more of the street features in the middle. And then there's that wall, that gnarly kind of wall on the other end of the skate park there. One of the cool details we're still working out is the wall that separates the park here, this kind of dune wall. We're still working out the details in that. I hope to have more to share about that in future presentations.
And then this is just to keep us on track and in check to make sure we're ticking all those boxes for the grant. So we're identifying what was listed in the grant and what items are tied to that line item to make sure we have everything included. So that's, new fencing, painting the water tower, putting in the climber, things like that, the swings, the lighting, the landscape, public art. And that bottom left one with the pink lines there, that's showing where we have identified the walls for public art, for murals.
And the thinking is the dune wall itself will essentially be a public art feature. There's a little wall here that is an opportunity for like a skate park centric art feature. And then the wall that flanks this property here is an opportunity. It'll be a nice face that kind of pulls out into the park right next to the playground for public art as well, for a mural. And that's it.
That's it. That's everything.
Thank you. It looks great.
Yeah, can't wait.
I can't wait either. To see this in our lifetime, it would be great.
No guarantees.
No, the park was another thing that's we had for our designs for years, and then finally we saw it, and this is beautiful. It's great. Can't wait. Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. Great presentation.
So just to make sure, we have two things we need to come back to you with. It would be determining the decomposed gravel or the pea gravel or a combination, and then determining if any of the art that we would like to have incorporated. Are those the only two decision points that we need to come back to you with?
What we want to,
Yes.
and then on the city side, what we want to do with the sculptures, if we
Okay.
don't put them back over there. But that would be for next meeting's agenda.
Any other questions or comments?
No? Good.
We thank you, everybody, for the presentation. It was fantastic. Again, we can't wait. Keep up the great work and the presentations.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yep.
That was great.
Exciting.
I can't wait. Emily, I think you're off here. Go to item number 6, Boys and Girls Club monthly update.
Okay, so last month in March, we had our Back in Youth Night event, which was a lot of fun. I know Hannah was there. I hope you had fun. And we hope to do it yearly, but maybe in the summer next year. And we're excited to have it back because it's been a couple of years since we had it here. Yeah, and then our upcoming events is we're gonna have spring break next week. We actually partnered up with the school district. They're gonna be paying for all the kids who attend. And it'll be Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30. They're also providing breakfast and lunch and snack. And we do have close to 90 kids registered for that, and there'll be transportation to the club if they need it, and transportation home if they need it also. So we hope to work something out like that for summer also. Our facility use, so it's still the wrestling club. Bulldogs are still having a couple more signups there. The women and infant mobile care comes in every last Tuesday of every month. And then the RERC, I don't know if it's a committee. They'll be using it next week on Wednesday in the afternoon for like a community meeting, and then all day Thursday also. But just a room on Thursday, so we'll still be able to have our kids there. And then the GBA will also be having a meeting, I believe, April 19th in the afternoon, and another meeting in May. And our next tea night is on Friday, April 14th. We also have tea night on Friday, March 31st, and we did get about 28 kids who showed up, and they all seem to enjoy it.
When are you gonna have your next team night?
April 14th. Yeah. And everything's looking good. There is a heater that makes a weird noise, but we already contacted Hannah with that, and they're working it out. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one. I know last time you were here, you were talking about enrollments and attendance. Has that increased?
A little bit, but it's still just Mackenzie teen kids. But having our Back at Youth Night event, that kind of showcased to the elementary kids that were there, so they're super excited. And they're like, why don't we get to come here? So I think after that and spring break, our enrollment will increase, yeah. And if not, it's just because of the ACES program also that we run. It might be impacted by the next school year, summer, it should be no problem.
Very good. Any other questions?
I have a question, but I gotta steal it back. Is the whole issue with the ACES kids not going to the actual clubhouse, is it just transportation, or is it that they have to stay over there?
I think it's just because. I think it's just because of like the timing that we opened the club, and advertising. But I don't think any ACES kids will drop out now to go over there. Next school year will probably be a little bit different. And we're even trying to work with the school district to see if any of the kids who are on the wait list we can house them out there until they're put into the ACES program.
Yeah. That's all I had.
Good. Any other questions or comments? I think the report sound like it's going pretty good. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. You gotta get close.
Is there anything that you need from us or volunteers or any needs of the club at this point that we could help get the word out on? Sorry, now you're going back again.
I think we're okay right now. We always take volunteers if you need, we just need background check and life scan, but we pay for everything. But yeah, you guys are welcome to come in, and especially for tea night. And I wish you would have been there for Back at Youth Night. It was fun.
What time was tea night supposed to start? Going to start?
For this tea night, it will be from 5 to 6. Yeah.
Thank you. 5 to 6?
Yes, and then in May, we'll do 5:30 to 8:30, so they have a longer span and they get to use the whole facility without a little one being there and be like, I can't play because this little one is in front of me or whatnot.
So our goal with recruiting teams is we eventually want to have a Keystone Club, which is a leadership club. And it's really fun. I was a Keystone member and I was able to travel all over the United States for national conferences. So we're trying to first get them in and then introduce them. So.
Sounds good. Thank you. Any other questions? No. All right, thank you again for your report. Okay, look forward to seeing you next month. Item number 7, renaming of Central Park.
In your packet, you will find past the Boys and Girls Club. Update. This is all the women that were, Al Nunez from the Historical Society for Women's. Not awareness, what is it, a Women's Month?
Women's History Month?
Women's History Month,
Yeah.
yes, Women's History Month. He went around and actually gathered information on all the influential women that were born and raised in Guadalupe or had, like I said, a lot of influence here. So these are pretty, I mean, not super long, but it might take you a bit to get through them. I did email them to everybody, so we can always table this for the next meeting and continue to kind of discuss it if you guys want to look at these more in detail. Also, if there's anyone, I would ask of you guys if there's anyone that you know of that might need to get added to this list for the next meeting to give that to me before then. So agendas are due the week before our meeting, so it would be like the last week of April probably. And then,
Do they have to be born here?
I mean, that's up to you guys. There's no specific.
I would say if they've given a significant contribution to the city of Guadalupe, like, I think that would qualify, but I mean, I don't necessarily think you'd have to have like a birth, right?
I think there might be a couple people in here actually that weren't born here, but then they eventually moved here and then lived here the rest of their life. These are some really interesting stories, I'm not gonna lie. I really
was thinking
like it.
too, not on my run this minute, it would be a good.
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
I was looking at the list that you gave us, and thank you for that. And I mean, how would it be hard for us to make a decision on this man, a little more time in the community or something like that? I thought of maybe, just throwing it out there, calling it Las Mujeres Park. And what we can do is honor women and, you know, because there's women here, you know, there's audience. And could very well be honored in the future, you know, and just keeping it open like that. Maybe we can do something, a wall dedicated to the women, the community, and, you know, every year add one to that woman of the year or something.
I like
I
that.
just think because it's hard for me to make a decision like that, especially with me coming in from the outside, you know, I'm a new Guadalupean, but I don't know these women. I know one of them, but, you know, I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know what you guys think about that.
No, I like
I
that.
like that.
We have a question?
I think that piggybacks to what you guys say about all Shannon. I think that piggybacks to the messaging, what you said at your last meeting, which was primarily a lot of the parks are male named. It would be a nice way to encompass multiple women
Yes.
and honor them. And then it could be even part of the art that you include in the
Yeah.
project, since we're going to be doing art projects.
Murals.
You could do it as part of the murals, you could do plaques, you know, I know, we were talking about at city council potentially doing like veterans plaques at some of the parks, because the streets are gonna be named after veterans, maybe you do some plaques that indicate women of Guadalupe. I think that's a really wonderful way to sort of encompass a lot of really important people.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it can be tradition and incorporated as
Yeah.
part of the park, it kind of gets to live longer than just one name.
I think we have a consensus up here on that
Yeah.
And then
agreement.
for what you said and what you said, doing a plaque, but then just adding someone every year onto that.
And we could do it in March every year in Women's History Month. And so every month we have something like, okay, we're gonna add another name to the wall and then determine the criteria and then add to it.
Yeah.
I love that idea. I think it would be great.
But the actual name of it, what would you want it to be? What was the
Las Mujeres Park or something like that. I'm just.
I like that.
Okay,
That's pretty, I mean, it's kind of encompasses everybody, and I'm not everybody,
Right.
all women.
And you say park or park game?
Park, I just.
Park's fine.
that's it.
Yeah, I could be bilingual.
Park is
Yeah.
ringing.
Yeah.
hybrid.
Let's get Kurt complicated.
I don't say ni or parque.
Then we could bring some of that fantastic art out there.
Yeah.
Why don't
Yeah.
you like my art? That's my favorite art.
And I looked it up after our last meeting too, to determine like how many parks in Santa Barbara County are named after women. And there's one, and it's like not even a real park, and so it would, and then in the state of California too, significant, like barely any representation, it was like less than 1%,
Well, maybe
so.
it might have to be after.
But it, like, going after like this, like, concept, I think it would be nice, cause it would kind of set us apart, and it would show that like we are.
Guadalupe?
We were the first ones to have a park named after women,
So I don't.
honoring women.
So are we all good with?
Mas-
Well, it
Why
just-
don't you wait, if, what you guys have figured this out, might
Yeah.
you come up with a couple variations, Las Mujeres per.
Sure.
If you're gonna do Mothers of Guadalupe, someone said that, I've heard several, so maybe you all fine tune that for the next meeting with some suggestions. Cause like Daisy mentioned too, how you word that phonetic or grammatically is important, because two languages, you don't want to, you don't want to mess up on that either, so.
Yeah, we say it. You gonna do this now or?
We still take, yeah, it's gonna be a while before that park's ready, so yeah, so.
That's true.
We can table it.
We can table
But
that.
I guess come back next time with a couple variations. of what
Yeah,
we might wanna
yeah.
It's busy, I think, it's busy every time. Just
Yeah.
kinda See what ideas we're getting.
socialize it, see how we feel.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Let's
Or,
hear
I mean,
it.
we do that.
Yeah.
But Emily, I believe you're right. I think we have to come up with some type of criteria as to how we choose somebody each year, you know,
Um,
whether it's gotta be somebody that's
Or maybe two
living
people
or not living.
Two people a year. I don't know.
Well, it's whatever we decide.
Okay, so I would think about that
The criteria.
for next, yeah, for next meeting.
City council like that.
Mm.
All right, please. Yeah.
We're gonna table that. So who, item number 8, dodgeball tournament update, verbal update.
Would you like to take this one, Mr. Judd?
Oh. Go ahead, I'll back you up on it. I thought it was pretty
Okay.
good.
For the kids, we didn't have a huge turnout. I think we had, maybe altogether, how many did we have, like 10?
About 11, 12.
Yeah. And that was kind of scattered throughout the morning, because the way that we did it was by division, and each division was a different age group. But what we've talked about for next time or it seems like the trend is to start doing drop-in stuff to bring in a crowd, and then from there have like a tournament or a league or something like that.
Yeah.
So we've talked about doing a drop-in dodgeball. I don't know how, we could talk about that.
And most people were receptive to that. They were like, oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
So they do exercise.
And then for the adults, we actually did have a pretty good turnout. I think we had, how many, like,
About 12, 14, something like that. They played for an hour.
mhm.
The adults played for a while.
They were still trying to go. They were still.
They were exhausted, but kept going. And then one more game, one more game. They were going for it. So I'm looking forward to that again.
So for frequency, how often do you want to do it?
Oh.
Cause I don't think it's as popular as volleyball and basketball, so I was thinking maybe less frequently than that.
Probably, but we just have to advertise it, so.
Like how often?
Well, that's what I'm asking, how,
Once a
like
month?
once a month, maybe?
I
Okay,
think once a month and keep it consistent, like always like the first, and then fill in the blank, like whatever day of the month. And so you could kind of get a rhythm of it.
Cause then we went down to the red line. We were doing half court, then we went to red line.
Oh my gosh.
That was exciting. We had a father and daughter that were going at it a lot of times in the end. Oh, it's them again. It's them two again.
She was really good. I
Yes.
mean, both of them were, but.
What kind of balls did you guys use?
The little sponge dodgeball
The
stuff.
sponge one?
Yes, the sponge, yeah.
They don't hurt. I mean,
Yeah.
if you get hit in the face, it's gonna hurt, but.
For a second.
And how close you are, right?
That's true. I think I'm good on that unless you had anything else.
Everybody that was there had a good time. Even the people that were watching had a good time.
Oh, I know. The parents, I feel like we're enjoying it too. Watching.
Next, we move to item number, any questions on dodgeball? Move to item number 9, Cinco de Mayo celebration verbal update.
So I've actually made a lot of headway on this. I'm kind of excited. I think. I haven't counted recently, but I think like 12 or 13 vendors that are like clothing or pre-made food or jewelry or just random stuff, which compared to last year's Cinco de Mayo, it's way, way better already.
When's the last day to sign up for a venue?
I didn't actually set, or did I set a deadline for that? I think I did. I would have to get back to you because I think I wrote it on the,
You have the list together already?
yes, I think somewhere
You
right.
might wanna
Um,
do something, yeah.
but
That you thought we did last year,
just for,
Saturday after.
it's gonna be the 7th,
Oh,
actually.
the 7th.
Because the 6th, we were gonna hold it at Leroy Park, but there's another event already going on that day. And there's no way that we'd have enough time to set up and have everything ready, so we're gonna do it on Sunday. Which hopefully that'll also help to bring in more people.
Yes, I mean.
So right now, just for booths and not food or entertainment, I have Hancock, CRRSBC, which I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's something to do with kids. I know it's not specific at all.
I actually know what it is. It's Children's Resource and Referral of Santa Barbara County.
Nice.
There we go.
Okay, that sounds better.
Capslow. And then a couple that are vending like random things, Polished by Lily, Dusty Blade and Brush, Victoria's Crystal Wellness, and there was 2 more that got added today, but I can't remember what their names were, but they both were vending jewelry and clothing. And then we also have Modeled and Thrifted, which is modeled and thrifted earrings. El Vaquero, which I think is like a little store over in the so off of Main Street and is it Gloucester?
Gloucester.
Yeah, in that little kind of
Yeah.
market area or there's a little Mexican, like they sell more cowboy type of clothes. So they asked to go. I'm talking to Los Compas right now. I guess they're not Los Compas anymore,
No,
but he said that he's still interested in coming out and performing for the event, but it would just be,
for us family?
yeah. Yeah. I tried to get the Danza Azteca group to come out, but I guess they have a conflicting event that day. Touch of Style wants to come out and bring some of their cars, and I already talked to John, who's the kind of like one of the head people of the group. And he said that they could advertise it on their social media as well, which they actually have a pretty big following.
How about the chattels that usually go on the parade route? For 16th of September or for Christmas?
Do you have like any
I
contact?
think the horse,
information?
it's gonna be horses, right? One of the horses gonna go.
Yeah, cause it's,
You know,
Grass.
Yeah.
We need somebody to clean up after the horses too.
yeah, that's true.
Beat up on the grass.
Are the kid dancers coming again this year?
Marimba band?
No, I reached out to Rigetti's Marimba band, but whoever the teacher is never got back to me. I don't, unless I have the wrong,
Yeah,
Yeah,
the one that took over.
I think that's who I email, let me see. Well, I'll look at that later, but, I'll write that down just in case.
Let me know the commission's asking for it, group.
Yeah.
Or how about a mariachi too?
I did look into that, but they're extremely expensive. And one of the only groups that I could get to lower their prices was, I still think it was like $500 that they wanted just for like 45 minutes or an hour,
That's
so.
not too bad.
I mean, it's not, but
I mean, considering it's a lot of money, but it's not, it's.
Yeah.
Okay. This place in
do you have secret money that we might know about? And that's pretty much it for booths, but I mean, there's a lot of space out there and we can be creative with the space if we need to create more space for booths, so.
Any
Yeah.
local organizations doing like fundraisers there, selling stuff to raise money for their organizations?
Not that I know of. I know that Hancock is gonna do a raffle, but it's not for
Yeah.
money, it's just to attract people to their
I'm just
booth.
thinking like the wrestling club or something. you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
organizations.
Yeah,
The football.
like 6th September, we had a little booth, you know, so ketchup sandwiches or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to open it up to local organizations if they want to do fundraisers, but I don't know if they have to get a permit to sell food and stuff. I don't know. how they do
If
that.
they're gonna sell food to the public, they have to have their Santa Barbara County health permit, their liability insurance, their food handlers certification.
Yeesh.
Yeah, so it's a whole, and that's why for the most part, for booths, well, not for the most part, for everybody, anybody that's a booth that doesn't have, prepackaged food, I'm not allowing to come in, and if they do have prepackaged food, they have to have all that stuff, or else I'm not, I mean, we can't allow them to
Just a
do it.
liability, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Are the Kiwanis coming this year? I remember last year, the rodeo person, queen, princess, whatever they're called, she was there.
I haven't heard from, cause it's Irma and Dan Pardo, right?
Yeah.
I haven't heard from them directly, but Charlene, who works with them, has mentioned that they were thinking about it, so I can, I'll follow up with her to see if they're going to. Who did you just answer?
Oh, Kiwanis.
Kiwanis, okay.
Cause I think, isn't that in the middle of their fundraising?
Right.
Mhm. I haven't heard anything either, but I'm assuming that they're still doing it.
No, you've chosen, yeah.
No, they said they were,
Planning,
yeah.
That's why-
I'll tell you the ring later.
Okay.
no official announcements.
I can touch base with them, and then, I haven't yet, but I probably will try to do it before the end of this week. Go to the different, stores downtown to see if any of them wanna set up a booth, cause they already have all their permits and everything that they need to have, so hopefully we can get some of them out. I really want Diana's to come and bring her all her stuff.
Lobos did some stuff for the Bulldogs for us. He did
I was
some
thinking about it.
tri-tip sandwiches. And it was really easy as far as like he can feed mass people quickly
Yeah.
and it's all like quick, easy in and out. And it was really, really good and the prices were good. And I think he did cash and card for us too.
I'm sure he'd be glad to do that too.
Cool, okay, I'll
I'm
reach out to
thinking about
them.
him soon. Anyway,
Is there anyone else that you guys want me to contact?
Yeah, SCR. I'll give you the information. Contact.
Oh, sir?
Yeah.
Oh,
They have the outreach for farm workers.
okay,
For GED. Yes.
It might be worth too, I know they're coming next Tuesday to the city hall meeting, but North County Child Protection, they do like education on child safe and stuff like that. And, they've been at like Arts in the Park and a lot of other events too, I've seen them.
So have we, do you consider getting the DJ?
yeah, so we have, I don't know if you guys remember, DJ Pete, he was the one that did the color run for us, and then he also just did the father-daughter dance.
You don't need mariachi then.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, DJ will be good.
Yeah.
So you can just pick some money.
We can afford a DJ, we should.
He actually, I never mentioned this, but at the father-daughter dance, he said for the rest of this year that he'll do all of our events for free.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Very cool. Wow. The charm of Guadalupe.
Yeah, great sandwich.
Yeah. Free sandwich.
That sounds great.
Anybody else on that? That you guys want me to reach out to?
How about how they do it in other, like in Santa Maria and Gilton and stuff, they have like a booze garden, like you just sit there, you drink either wine or beer. I mean, you do have a local winery here with what do they call
With
it?
the license too, huh? That's not,
That's
that's a
true.
good idea. And I don't know if the city allowed that, that'd be
Get a
good.
good tent though.
They'll probably start traumatizing the old 16th September parties, but
But I
yeah.
mean, they would just sit there, they're
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not gonna be able to walk around.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like, what is
Beer
the
garden.
local?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great idea.
Guadalupe, what is it?
The Guadalupe
Society.
Social Club.
The social
they
club.
Have like their.
Reach out to them.
That'd be a good idea.
You should make it like a stipulation, show us make a stipulation, they need some of their proceeds need to go to that nonprofit.
Mhm.
There you go. I like
Yeah.
that.
Maybe, something like that, all the vendors. And this doesn't be a lot, but something.
Some type of percentage.
Yeah.
I think for this year, I'm not gonna require
Okay,
that, just
okay.
because
Yeah.
this has been the first year where I've actually
Okay.
gotten some people, but then for
Let them know
next
already.
events, yeah.
Make sure it's coming.
Be prepared, cause I'm gonna charge you.
Not a lot, just something reasonable,
I wonder, what other food places do we have? So we would ask Lobos, I mean, even Two Guys Pizza, they could have it in like some warmers and
Yeah, you guys.
that would be an
should.
easy one to do and they
Yeah.
do a lot for the community.
Yeah. Maybe I could put their. Who's in the. They're gonna be too busy to do their own things and.
That's all I have.
Any other questions or comments?
Are you gonna have a table there again, Hannah? And do you want one of us to, or all of us to come help again?
Yes, I would request help this time, because I might be performing for a dance group, and I know last year that was kind of stressful to be like changing and like making sure everything was good. So yeah, if I could have one person or two people.
May 7th?
Yes,
We have a banner now.
yes, we do. We have a little, what's it called? The one that goes down the middle of a table?
Runner?
Runner?
Yes,
Yeah.
runner. That's what it's called.
No, I can help again. Last year was eventful and the drunk driver crashed
Oh, yeah.
first car in the
Yeah.
fire department.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is fire and everybody coming again with all their stuff?
Fire, I can see if, they can bring the granny.
Trailer thing.
No,
Fire truck.
the old fire truck, cause I know they did that for Kids Day in the park, and I know a bunch of kids were. They're climbing on it and stuff, so I can ask them.
I love that wine garden idea.
I know, that's a good idea.
That would be good, and like you could just have a set price to get in, and then they could offer like however they wanna do it, but it would be good, they could get the word out on their business.
Oh, for sure. And I know a lot of people will come if that's there. I hate to say it, but it's
I'll be
true.
there.
Everybody will be there.
We've already sold what, 6 tickets?
Always stay over there.
Yeah, our table will be in.
We need to be like right next to them.
Yeah.
Our banner right in there.
It'd be cool though, like a nice way to like welcome a new business and get the word out. And I know they're trying to do a lot of recreational stuff too. I saw they were doing like a trivia night and some other stuff. So they do have a nice tie into recreation.
Oh, Guadalupe Fitness as well. I forgot about that.
The Guadalupe Social Club.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been there yet, Joe?
No, I keep going by there and it's routine.
I've been there 3 times already.
I know.
I'm a regular.
How is it? Is it nice? I haven't been
It's
there.
good, it's
I
good.
haven't been there either.
Cause those locals tell me, you should go there, Joe.
Yeah, on a nice night, if it's not windy, well, hang out in the back, they have heaters and, it's nice.
And
Yeah,
they have a lot of games. They have like the big life size, like chess and Jenga and
Watch your ball.
yeah, and it's overlooking like a really pretty like hills and it's beautiful
Have
out
plenty
there.
of room inside.
yeah.
And they have food.
Yeah.
So is it like a wine tasting where you pay for your glass and?
They have wine and they have beer.
Yeah, wine and beer and food.
Okay, but it's not like wine tasting where you sample.
No.
I actually don't know if they agree.
They have like a custom Guadalupe wine though, that like, well, it has the logo on it. actually comes from here, but like they have some specialty stuff that could become like a tourist stop for people coming through, like to pick up a bottle of wine or something.
Unless people want to be very sour.
The food was delicious.
Yeah. Pizza, flatbread pizza too.
Anything else? No?
Oh, you said the fitness club?
I'm trying to think of if there's anyone that I missed that's from here, because obviously that's who I wanna promote the most, but I don't think so.
Did you contact the Little House by the Park over here?
So I sent an email out to all the nonprofits. I think it was like 2 months ago now. So I haven't heard back from a lot of them, so I'll have to follow up with everybody, but I did Little House and then I mean, I don't have them all written down because I have it on another sheet, but all the nonprofits in the area, I emailed all of them, so hopefully I'll hear back from them, but I will follow up with them tomorrow.
I'll put your contact info out on our neighborhood page too. There's a lot of people that have little side hustles and stuff that might be interested in getting involved. Mexican.
Oh, yeah.
They're good.
I know.
What's that?
I've yet to try them.
Is that that's not the pizza, is it?
It is.
Pizza,
So
tacos, and-
That's the one thing that I'm trying to figure out, because there's a thing with open flame. And I need to talk to either Pat or somebody in fire to figure out what the requirements are if you have open flame, cause I think it might just, I don't think you have to have any additional like permitting or insurance, but I think there's like a certain requirement for distance, how far you have to be away from everybody. But they would be, I mean, I've seen their Instagram page and it looks really good.
Your quesadillas are good.
Mm-hmm.
And this really good.
And he does a lot of roadshow stuff, like caterings and stuff, so he's probably pretty mobile.
That'd be nice. Get a chance to try his stuff. His or her, I don't know.
It's a husband-wife combo, they do it together.
His and her.
And then I'm actually really sad because I used to have Nietzsche's Way and Kid Rolos come to like every single
They
event. They
sold
were the
their
only ones.
trucks.
And I know both of them
Oh,
are
yeah,
gone now.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're both gone now. Sad. Yeah, that's true.
That's too bad.
But I think K Rolo said something like they still have their,
They're, they're,
it's not a grill, but it's their cold plate thingy
Oh.
or something. I don't know, maybe they still come out.
hmm.
Well, that's a good start though. That's a lot more than last year.
Mhm.
I sure hope the wind's not gonna be
Yeah.
present.
Oh my gosh, last year the wind,
Yes, it was.
the drunk driver.
Every day. That was the only reason why people came over there, because they saw the drunk driver and they were like, what's going on? Oh, what's going on over there?
Do we have to reenact that?
I guess. We might have to, I don't know.
When we were taking their tents down, we're not gonna put a tent up. We're not gonna
Yeah,
put a
I know
tent up
that.
either. They were working on everybody took the tent down. But
We'll
hopefully-
have the table there, right? Wednesday?
Yeah, they're sanitary.
No more questions or comments on this item? That's for item number 10, May recreation parks and newsletter additions.
Mhm. So what would you guys like in there? Yeah, for May, I'm gonna have, which when we get to other matters of importance, I'll talk about this because the school is on board, or Dr. Handel is on board with partnering to do the talent show, but he requested that we do it on the 2nd, which is the week before, on Friday evening, so that way they're still in school, because his whole thing is that he feels that if we do it after they're already out, that a lot of kids are gonna be gone on vacation already and not participate in it. So if we do it the Friday before school is out, at least we have majority of everybody still there.
Mhm.
I think I wrote it down, I can't remember what time it said. I think it was like 4, yeah. So June 10th at 4, so we could do June, I think it's June 2nd, is it?
Second Friday.
So,
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so he said June 2nd, and then if you guys are okay with that, then I'll start planning that out with him. So that'll be on the May agenda.
Township will be at the school or here at City Hall?
It would be here at City Hall, but I logistically, I don't know if there's anything other than maybe just like their staff that we would really need from them, and advertising, obviously, but.
It might be cool if we could get the DJ too to like play like run the music
Mhm,
and
in
stuff,
between.
or if he was
Okay.
available,
Yeah, I'll ask
pump
him.
up the crowd.
And if not, I know that there's another DJ who, he was one of the dads that attended the father-daughter dance, DJ
Butter,
Butter, that's, I don't know why I keep saying Bunny.
Vincent.
butter.
Yeah.
It's better.
Man.
But he's offered also to, do some of our events for free. So if anything, if, Pete isn't available, I can ask him too.
Yeah.
What else for me? I'll probably still include the softball sign up stuff because, deadline isn't until the 10th, and I purposely made it early. So that way I have an extra 5 days, just in case people still try to get ready.
You gotta do psychology, you gotta child psychology in these people, man.
That's what it is.
They can hear us right now.
I'm calling you guys out, register on time.
You know.
Um,
Softball team in there.
what else? Color Run will be in July, so I'll have Color Run on there too. Oh, and then I'm gonna try to do, I haven't decided if I wanna make it a camp or a class yet, but I wanna do something for basketball. I think for basketball, I could swing classes better and start it in like July and do it for July through August. So it'd just be like not training, but
Like a clinic skill.
clinic, but like long term. So instead of doing like 1 week where it's only like an hour every day, it'd just be like Tuesday and Thursday for an hour for July and August. But I have been thinking about doing a camp for baseball and softball. I'm just struggling to find a baseball male to help me.
Right now it's baseball season.
Mhm.
Basketball period in town.
Well, there's kids who are playing baseball, but we go Saturday.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we have some older people that play baseball that I'm sure would be involved.
I know the mayor plays, obviously, but I just don't know what his schedule's like, but. And then Megan's, he's not really. I was gonna say Megan's dad used to play for Gonzaga. He could also give us some stuff to do, I guess.
Have you tried partnering up with the school for the basketball stuff? Cause I know back in the days, we used to do 3rd grade basketball.
Mhm.
And we would come to City Hall and teach the kiddos how to dribble. We would have a whole week to teach all the 3rd graders to dribble, and then we would just do a tournament, a whole week of tournament with the kiddos.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I liked it. When I was a 3rd grader and we used to do that, I liked it. And as an adult, teaching the kids how to do the basic stuff for basketball, I liked it as well. And they would get medals and a trophy, whoever won or whatnot. That would be. If you want to get along, or you don't have to do it just for 1 week, you can go for like a whole month. Play games for twice a week.
So what are the ages are you targeting?
That's what I've been thinking about, because. I think, with the school's help, obviously I can get a lot of elementary kids, but then with basketball, it's kind of. I feel like it's not really there for them until around like 3rd grade, probably,
right.
where they can actually start to grasp concepts.
Yeah.
So probably like 3rd and up.
Yeah.
I probably would make it 3rd through 6th and then just junior high and up, because as much as I would like to divide junior high and high school, with the amount of turnout that we've had for that age group, I feel like combining it would just be better. And then if I have to, at the actual class or whatever, split them up because of size or whatever, then I can always do that.
Skill level.
Mhm. But I think probably just 2 different age brackets, so 3rd through 6th and then 7th and up.
I think probably third to fifth,
3rd to 6th
sixth to
through
eight.
8 and then high school,
But
okay.
there's a pretty big body
Yeah, 'cause-
size difference.
Because there's sixth graders that play on the 7th grade team, junior high.
Oh, okay. Can you say that one more time? I'm sorry, you said 3rd through 5th?
Then 6, 7, 8.
And then for high school, I think what I might do is instead of classes, offer like group training. So if there's like a couple kids that are like, oh, you know what, I really want to enhance my skills or whatever, then they can sign up to do like a group training, just them. But I would require probably at least 2 people, because I don't want to be alone with anyone's kids.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Do you wanna try to do dodgeball again?
Yeah. I'll put that on there too. Oh, I spelled dodge wrong.
I know, it's freezing.
I don't hear any wind. It sound like you feel like it's kind of,
Yeah, for the little ones here, we can do it during the school time.
cracks all over his face.
That's what we would do. We would come in,
Like a snow cone.
1, have our game and then, by 2:30.
Like during
During
school?
school time. The
Oh.
kids would come to City Hall.
Oh.
And then at certain times, depending on the schedule for the game. Let's say your class and his class had a game, they would come over and, they would play, and then the next class would come in. We would have, I think, 3 games a day.
Oh, okay.
Twice a week. They were during school time, so.
Okay.
Remember that? Remember that? I was back in the early years. Yes. I remember the full ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love dodgeball. So I have talent show, softball, color run, dodgeball, basketball. Am I missing anything for the next foreseeable months?
Maybe just a plug in the newsletter to like follow you on social media, or if the website is gonna be updated.
And have suggesting if they have any ideas to send it your way.
That's a good one. Anything else for that?
Good right now.
Okay.
Commissioner, any comments or questions?
Do you hear that too?
Yes,
right?
it's like
Okay.
a dog whistle, it's like.
Oh, you're too close to something.
I think it's just because we have like multiple mics on, so it's catching the feedback. But I think it might be this one specifically, because every time I turn it off, then it stops.
Yeah.
I think it is that.
Okay, any matters of importance that the recreation commission manager will discuss if necessary?
It was just that the outdoor thing that. Talked about.
That's good. Think about it.
I have a couple of questions.
Mhm.
The ethics training.
Mhm.
That's gonna come up.
I need to have, that happened already, that happened.
Yeah.
On Valentine's.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yes.
I think.
I will,
Yeah.
Teg has been out on, Teg is our human resources person. He's been out on vacation, and I think he's supposed to come back this week. But I can talk to him and make sure that he sends you guys that training.
The other question I had or comment
Mhm.
is, our other commissioner Trevor. Is it a matter of transportation for him? Do we know? Cause I don't mind picking him up. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
I will try to find out tonight, see if he can answer me.
Yeah, I think he would be, valuable asset and be, just of all of us.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to
Walk in that
give
give us some good insight.
That was the purpose of him being here.
Yeah, I think it would be great if he could attend.
Yeah. I've been reminding him, I've been texting him the week before, the day before, and the day of.
I'll see him on Thursday at the food bank.
Oh, okay.
He's
It's
there.
kind of hit or miss, yeah, it's kind of hit or miss, but
So he's there, I'll have a talk with him. See if it's a matter of transportation, then, yeah.
I can pick him up, I don't care. I just don't know I don't know what's going on, I don't know if.
I know.
Because I don't know, if there's a seat that's gonna remain empty, then it's kind of.
We don't want that.
Yeah,
we don't want that. And I don't know what the rules are as opposed to how many meetings you miss before you say.
I don't know, I actually asked Juan of that because I think even, obviously, before he was sworn in, it technically didn't count if he missed a meeting. But if you count that one, that's, I think, 3 already, so I need to ask her how that
He was
works.
here for the photo walk, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is good,
Mhm.
but I think it's just, he's an asset, I think. I
Mhm,
don't know much
definitely.
about him, to be honest, but being young and,
Mhm.
So if it's a matter of transportation, I would be glad to pick him up.
I'll be at the food bank on Thursday too, so we can
Okay.
tag
That's our
team
next
him.
agenda item.
Figure out.
That's our next agenda item, we'll make sure he's there.
Yeah.
But at some point, I guess we may have to make a decision if he doesn't. My understanding is like his mom kind of prompted him to do this or something, and that's what I don't know where I got that from him or somebody, I don't know where it came from.
I,
town.
everything is rumors.
Maybe that's what it is.
No,
Just have his heart in
he
it.
told me his mom,
What?
his mom wanted him.
So that's where. His mom wanted-
That was you.
So, I mean, that's good, that's admirable that, his mom wants to get involved, but if he doesn't have his heart into it, and he just kind of,
Mhm.
then. At some point, we might have to decide, to find someone else that does want to do this, but I don't want to put him in that spot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not me to say, for his situation, but it's transportation, I'll be glad to pick him up, but we'll talk to him when we see it.
Okay.
Cause for numbers, we always have to have 3, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
I may not be here in the month of June, that's usually when I go to Oregon, so I will let you know for sure. I always schedule every other trip around recreation. 'Cause it's important.
That's like all my vacations. I'm like, okay, which week do I not have rec and park commission meeting or city council?
I have it blocked on my work calendar. I never travel the first week of the month.
Commission, any requests, comments, or meeting reports this time? If not, we're looking for a motion of adjournment. So we'll have a motion and a second, all in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.